but I don't know how long it takes.
Okay, guys, good morning. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. You guys all see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to go over a couple of things, and the first thing has to do with estimates. And you guys can go into this. I've talked to you guys about this before. You can go on your iPad. This is basically the learning, portal, I guess, if you want to call it in here. And you just go into Service Titan, and then on the right-hand side, you can click down and you can go into the training or the learning mode. So this here I just kind of review, and allows you to review things that you've already gone through, which have gone through this already. Creating estimates. I want to show you guys this kind of quickly, so how this works.
Now it's time to start creating some estimates. Open the Estimates tab and add a new estimate.
So this basically walks you through by telling you, and then it says yes, yep, this is the one. You click on Estimates, and it tells you that it's correct, and then it's going to keep you walking you through every little step of how to create an estimate. Okay, so there are no estimates for this job, but I mean basically it's going to continue to do this for you. So we can add an estimate. It tells you the next thing. Go to estimates page and start adding an estimate. So then we add an estimate. Correct. Okay.
Let's bypass these pre-built options and build a new estimate.
Okay. So we're going to build a new estimate. We just click up here and it tells you, yep, it's the right one. I mean, it walks you through it completely.
For this estimate, call it Option A, Refrigerant Recharge.
So basically we're going to name it, we would type in whatever it is. It's just telling you what it is. It's typing it in for you. But it's showing you how this works step by step by step.
For the summary, enter Recharge Refrigerant Only.
Okay.
Begin adding items.
Items. I mean, it tells you step by step by step. And I'm telling you this because I want you to see how this works, because
Open
we've had a
the
couple of
HVAC
issues.
category.
So then, it takes you to the category, lets you choose.
Locate the Diagnostic Services subcategory and add the Residential Diagnostic item.
So right there, we just went into that. And then full diagnostic, commercial, residential.
I like that commercial
Now
price.
add the Recharge Service item.
Okay, so then go back to the subcategories. So this thing will work.
Open the AC Charging subcategory. Locate the recharge up to 3 pounds for an R22. Now add the item to the estimate.
And my computer's going crazy.
Complete this estimate to go back to the estimate page.
Okay, so when I go up to done, that completes that one, right? Now here's the thing that a lot of you guys are not doing as we get to the next part
Now
of it.
add the refrigerant
Not yet,
as a
not yet.
material. Open the materials page.
Okay, so in a second here, I'm gonna go open materials.
Begin adding a material. In the search box, enter refrigerant.
Okay, so here's the search. It's gonna type it in for me. You don't have to actually type it. This just gives you, and when you're really doing it, obviously you gotta type it, but this is just showing you how it's being done. Press the search button.
Open the refrigerant item. Update the quantity to 32.
And it's gonna change it for me.
This item needs to be charged to the customer. Tap the button that will add this item to the cost of the estimate.
Charge materials.
Click on the charge for material, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
So it's right below the.
I did that right now. Yeah, okay, I did that. I thought I'd tried that first time. Didn't I?
Now, add this item to the estimate and close this material screen. Go to the All Estimates page and create another estimate.
Okay, so all estimates, this is what I'm talking about, doing a duplicate basically.
For the next estimate, include everything in the first one plus a new condenser. The fastest way to do this is to make a copy. Go ahead and duplicate this estimate.
Alright, so tell me how we duplicate the estimate. Anybody?
Copy and paste?
No?
It's either gonna be the
It's the
three
little-
dots in the
Yeah, it's the
corner
three
or,
dots right there.
There we go. Okay, so we click on this, duplicate the estimate, and it just says duplicate. So now I'm gonna duplicate it, so I don't have to rewrite or redo
Confirm
any
the
of that.
duplication.
Yes, I'm gonna duplicate it, and then I can add on to that,
Rename this estimate to option B, new condenser.
okay? So, up here, I'm just gonna change it, instead of option A, I'm gonna change it to option B and put the new condenser in there, but everything else is already in there from option A. I'm just adding
Add
to
a
it.
short description in the summary line.
Instead of recharge only, now I'm gonna add what else I'm adding to it. So it makes it so much
Begin
easier.
adding items. Open the HVAC category. Open the AC systems subcategory. Add the Lennox 210 condenser. Great job on creating the second estimate. Press done and go back to the all estimate page.
So now I can even add to a third estimate, duplicating the second one that has A and B already in it. And do a third estimate with A, B, and C.
Now we need to add form findings to these estimates.
So if I
Let's
wanted
start with
to,
option A.
if I wanted to do that, do you understand that I could go into that same estimate and duplicate it and then just add another one? You can do as many of those types of things if you want. So that way, because what's happening is, here's what I'm seeing happen, and Kevin can attest to this, he had the same issue, but I've seen it over and over again, not just from Kevin, from other people, is we put an estimate A in, then we put an estimate B in, maybe we put an estimate C in, whatever. Well, we want to sell both of those. You can't sell both of those on the same job. You can't like convert both of them and then make them both go on the same job. They have, if you're going to do that, you should have had one that had both of them included in it already. Does that make sense? So like we just did, we duplicated the first one, we added the second part of it. Now we have both of those as one deal. I can convert that one, or I can convert the first one by itself. Or if I wanted to have them have two separate and then add them together, I could do that. But whatever one I book or convert and sell and book, that's going to go into that job. So if you have separate estimates, they would actually be booked as separate jobs for the same customer. Does that make sense?
would they go under a project tab then? So it'd be a project number?
Well,
Like, let's take Garland.
we could set it up that way, but what I'm saying is just when you sell the estimate, whatever estimate you sell, that goes on to one job. Now, it's not saying that I can't go back in and put it all together, but then that takes me time. I'm gonna have to cut and paste and make sure I put the right tasks, the right dollar amounts, and all that into it. I can do that, but it makes it so much easier if you guys are doing your estimates and you're gonna give options, because, yeah, hey, I can do a small little repair here and just do this, or I can go in and do this, this, and this, and you just keep adding your estimates and then let the customer decide which one they want, and then that's the one we sell, and the whole job is already there when we book it. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's how, I'm not gonna go through the entire thing, because we can keep going on and on about estimates, and you guys can go into this at any time and look at it and, play with it. Because once you go through it, it'll allow you to come back and just refresh your mind, and you can just kind of do what I did. Instead of starting at the beginning, I kind of just went into where the test was to kind of review it, to make sure I'm doing it right. So that's the best way on any one of these little, on the Academy, you can go in and do any of those things on dispatch or on any of the things that have to do with service time. Make sense? So I didn't want to go through a whole training, because we could be here for an hour just on one module, but I just did want to show you at least how to duplicate it. You go up to that little right 3 dots, click on it, you can duplicate whatever one you started, so you don't have to keep rewriting stuff. And then just add to it, change the summary, change everything up a little bit so it's option B instead of option A, or however you want to write it. Okay? So, anybody have any questions on that? Please get them out to me if you do. Okay. Tasks, I talked about tasks the other day and I'm still seeing it. And I want to make sure you guys are not just putting in, we have in the system here tasks such as miscellaneous repair 1 or level 1 repair, level 2, level 3, level 4. You have to put in what that work is, okay? So all you got to do is edit that. Even though it says miscellaneous 1 repair and it has a price and you can change the price and do all of that, it's better for you to type in what we're doing. Because let's say for an example, Sarah goes in and she has 2 toilets. One she's got to replace the flange on, there's a miscellaneous repair in there, and one she's just replacing the wax rings, for an example, pull and reset, because they're leaking at the base. And I'm just taking a job that we were talking about yesterday. Well, how do I know which toilet is it? And when I say miscellaneous 1 repair, how do I know what she did? How do we warranty that? How do we warranty miscellaneous 1 repair? You know, then I got to start going through notes and seeing if I see anything that, or going through parts or purchase orders, what parts did she get, and so on and so on. So at least have a description, not only for the client, but when we're warranting something, we need to know what it is. You know, I replaced the closet flange in the hall bathroom, right? Something simple like that, or the master bath, or whatever it is. So that makes it a lot easier for all of us if the next person happens to go to that job, and we know we have a warranty call, we know what it is. But miscellaneous 1 repair, level 2, level 3, whatever, that doesn't really tell us what the job is. So please make sure you're putting in your task what it is.
How do you edit the task?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to go into a different. Get out of here.
Because I tried editing the task before and I
Okay.
thought I did, but then when like.
So I'm just going to go
back
into a
the
job.
page, it didn't do anything.
I'm going to go into a job, and I can change. This is an actual current job, okay? So once I'm in, and I'm doing this through my side of the office, and you guys, I mean, it's a little bit different when you guys go into yours, but when you add a task, and let's say miscellaneous, just level, I think we just put it level, is it level 4, or did it say miscellaneous level 4? I don't remember how it was.
MISC.
Okay, so miscellaneous level 1 repair. So all you do is go into here, go into your box for the description. You can back this out, you can type in whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter.
I don't think I tried that before.
We can do the description, but.
You can do the
But just-
description.
But not the actual.
You're not changing the name of the
Okay.
task, all you're doing is changing the description.
Oh, okay.
Instead of level 1 repair, you type in whatever you want. So it describes what it is, and then you also can go down and you can change the price, right?
Right.
So that's all you're doing, is you're just going in on the description part of it, because miscellaneous level 1 repair could be anything.
Where it says summary, we just type in information.
Well,
Okay.
summary you can do summary as well, but you can also type it in here.
In
In
the task.
the description, you can change that.
Oh,
And that's, instead of saying miscellaneous level 1 repair, that doesn't really mean anything to a client, right? So if you have it in there in the description, because when you put it in the summary, on the invoice, it shows it up only on top. And I've already had this issue, I'm dealing with customers, trust me, and they call me and they say, well, I don't understand what I'm doing, what I'm paying for, because it just says miscellaneous level 1 repair. This is why I'm bringing this up, because I talked to a customer about it. But it was in the summary. So you guys did, I can't remember who it was, but they put it in the summary, what we did, but it didn't say it on the description of what they paid for. Does that make sense? So if you put it in the description, now it's on the invoice down below, not just on the summary up on top. They don't always read that little summary thing.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't show what the price was. This showed miscellaneous level 1 repair, and it had a price, and then it showed something else and a price, and then a total. Okay, but if we have it in the description, so when it comes on the invoice for the customer, so for an example, let me just type something on here so you can see, and then I'll delete it. Okay, let's just say replaced toilet flange in hall bath. Okay. So now I'm going to save this. I'm going to take this off though, but I'm going to save this. So now if I were to go into the invoice, okay, we have all of this stuff here that we did, right? See how it says replace toilet flange in hall bath now on the job? If not, it's going to say that miscellaneous 1 repair, level 1 repair. That's all it's going to say. And so then this customer's going to go, what's this repair you're charging me extra for? You know, they see all the other stuff that's up there that we did, but they don't see what the description was of the work that we're saying miscellaneous level 1 repair. okay? So, and this is good because guess what? We have a signature. I love having signatures. It makes it so much easier. Okay. So now I gotta go back into my tasks and delete that one.
Now it looks like Tristan's cleaning trucks.
Okay?
What's up, buddy?
All right. Follow-ups. I've already had this conversation before, but I'm reiterating it again. Follow-ups. Guys, we cannot, it doesn't matter if it's a warranty call, we're waiting on parts, it doesn't matter what the issue is. You have to basically reschedule your follow-ups so that you see that you have to call that client, we see that you have to call that client. I've seen Sarah doing it, I've seen a couple of other people doing it lately, but we're still missing them because when a client calls me, and it was a week ago that we were out there, or almost 2 weeks ago, I think we were out there on the 13th, and there's parts that were ordered supposedly, and we're waiting on those parts to be ordered, and no one follows up, and the client calls us back and says, what's going on with these parts? You guys never follow up. This is the second time, third time, whatever, she's naming off all this stuff that happens. Well, how can we follow up if you're sick, or if you're not here, or you don't remember, you don't have it in your notebook? Maybe you do, but obviously if a client's calling us after, almost 2 weeks, and we haven't called him back to give him any kind of update, and then I call the tech and he says, yeah, well, I'm waiting on this part, they're gonna call me back. If that happens, if you guys are waiting on a part and you're trying to get a hold of somebody and they're not getting back to you within a timely manner, rather than you keep on holding on, you can put it on your schedule. And I don't have a problem calling somebody. You guys are out in the field working. I can call, I can have dispatch call when they're not doing anything and get a hold of the rep or whatever, which by the way I did on this one because we've been waiting on this part for 2 weeks. I found out where it's at, I know where it's gonna be, I know how we can, everything's gonna be resolved. It just took me a couple hours of waiting, called somebody and I called somebody else and I waited and I got a telephone call. Because I'm in the office, I have the ability to do that. But when you guys are out in the field, you're gonna forget about it because you're working on this job, you're focused on this, your notebook's sitting somewhere else, you're not paying attention, it's not on your board to remind you. So if you put it on your board to remind you, at least you can say, hey, I know I'm busy today, I can't follow up on this, give me a call, and if I can't do it, I'll get it done one way or another. But this part we've been waiting for 2 weeks, now we know where it's at. They lost it, it was kind of lost in transition, but we got it figured out, and now we're gonna have the part on Monday morning. But those are the kind of things that we can help you with, but you've got to let us know. And I can't go through all your jobs and start reading all your notes and figure out what you're waiting on and what you've done and what you haven't done because it's not always on there, And I don't have all day to look at just notes in your job. So if you just reschedule it on yourself, know you got to follow up. Let's say you went there today and you ordered parts from someone and they said, okay, I'll get back to you. Follow up tomorrow, put it on your board tomorrow. If it's got to go to Monday, goes on Monday. We follow up Monday morning. If you're not able to do it Monday morning, let me know. I'll take care of it. Okay? So we can't let customers call us 2 weeks later asking what's going on. No one's communicated to me where the parts are or what's going on. It was a warranty issue. So we just can't do that. Okay? Okay, and then I guess the only other thing I have before I'll see if Kevin has anything is making sure that, in particular for the HVAC guys, but also it's going to be going forward shortly too for Sarah, so I'm going to, for the plumbing channel. You guys have got to keep in constant communication with your channel. You just have to. You have to let them know what's going on. He shouldn't have to be, or she shouldn't have to be, constantly asking you what's going on with your jobs and so on and so on. So just keep them in the loop. I think John wants to talk to Ryan and Mike. And I don't see Bernard, but afterwards, just for a few minutes, and I'll be here as well. Do you have anything, Kevin?
Yeah. Somewhat timely subject. This is a little bit more training for plumbers than the HVAC guys, but the HVAC guys should know this. So who here can tell me what electrolysis is?
Dissimilar metals. Dissimilar metals that cause corrosion.
That's where you have just
Galvanized and
metals
copper.
together with water.
What takes place with electrolysis?
Is there a charge difference between the two materials?
like
Yeah.
the,
Mhm.
so you have a copper pipe here,
So there's one for the park.
and you have nothing here. Okay, that's trash. Let's see. See if this one works. Okay, we'll go with that. For those of you colorblind, I apologize.
So we have gray and gray.
So let's call this copper, and let's call this steel, okay? Now, what happens is, when there's a conduit, and the conduit would be what?
Water.
Water. So water is the conduit, okay? And you have the flow of electrons taking place here. The copper is going to give up its electrons to the steel. Okay? Now, without water, it's not going to happen, right? But with the water, even moisture in the air, that's going to take place. So what's going to happen is right here, okay, this is where the problem's going to start, and it's going to spread its way backwards. So what's going to happen is the copper will actually disintegrate from the inside out, okay? And to where this will just snap off. This fitting will just start spraying all over the place, okay? And I've seen this done a lot, typically by gardeners, on a tap in a copper line in irrigation, and they'll just plug steel in there and nobody really gets it. And you'll go there and you'll see this ball of corrosion. And that's probably the only thing holding it together at that point. Okay. So there's a procedure to break electrolysis, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So what you have to do to break this flow of electrons is you take a brass nipple, okay? Does anybody know how long it's supposed to be?
6, right?
6 inches, okay? 6 inches long. You tap that, you go into the steel, because steel is threaded as well, right? You know, that's a female thread, that's a male thread. And so this one gets threaded into this one. What else do you have to do?
The union,
What?
the union,
What kind of union?
dielectric.
Dielectric union. So your dielectric union goes here, right? It's kind of a steel and then copper connection. And that's what you put on here. All right? That's how you break electrolysis. So I've seen in the past where people plumb copper straight into water heaters. All right? You can't do that. The water heater is steel. All right? It's gonna break the thing. So this is the procedure every time. All right? Ideally 6 inches is what I believe code says. That's what I was taught 30 years ago. It's one of the first things they taught me, by the way, as a plumber. Yeah.
What do you do in some scenarios where you don't have 6 inches, like there's a door?
You put a 90. Put a brass 90, go up 6 inches, go down, loop-de-loop, whatever. Okay? So if you look at a water heater, okay, and you look at the nipples that come with the water heater, what do you see?
Usually steel.
Oh.
They have plastic or steel in
They're steel, but what are they lined with?
Plastic?
They have a
Plastic
plastic
inside.
barrier in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay? So those are designed to break electrolysis. All right? That's considered enough of a barrier. So when you go to hook up the copper flex, which we don't use, that's not going to be an issue. because it's brass with a rubber, and then you have a little bit of copper in that flex, you know, and that's enough of a barrier on the water heater. So I guess the reason I learned this right away was because where I worked, we were not allowed to flex in water heaters. Every single water heater, that was the way I was trained initially, every single water heater was piped in rigid. And we had to have a 6-inch nipple, and we had to have a dielectric union, and then we ran our copper in rigid every time. So I wanted to bring that up because I had experienced plumbers put in a $10,000 water heater, and the water heater had leaked and under warranty just by a month or two. And that's why this is significant, and that's why it's important. Okay, so you walk away from something like this, and I guarantee you, you could easily have a leaky water heater, especially with a water softener, because now we're salt, you know, yeah. So this is what I want to see each and every time to break electrolysis anytime you got to connect to steel, okay? Another thing about that is we do never ever use black steel for water lines.
Gas lines only.
Gas lines only, that's it, okay? You must use Galvi if you're gonna use, you know, you could use steel, it's okay. You see it in irrigation systems and things like that where you come out of the ground, but you want it to be more rigid than copper, or you want it to be cheaper than copper, I guess. That way you could just throw a nipple coming out of the ground in steel, Galvi steel, okay? Anybody have any questions about this process or procedure?
What about K pipe?
What?
What about K? Would that?
Schedule K?
Mm-hmm.
You're still gonna have the flow of electrons, and you're still gonna have the corrosion.
Okay.
It will not break the electrolysis. Schedule K is just thicker pipe, that's all it is. You're just extending the problem a little bit. You're delaying the problem a little bit, that's all you're doing.
I saw that problem firsthand when you're talking about. I went to a call where the lady of the house was complaining because when she opened up her kitchen sink, she gets this dark water come in first, then it gets clear. And I just look around and I'm like, have you done anything recently? And she said, yeah, we had a gardener do something in the back. So I went around and saw that he tapped into the copper with his Galvi and went for, and then the effect was like right away, where she would turn on kitchen sink and she would get, I saw it in dark, like looking like really like sewer water, and then once that will go through, it get clear again.
Yeah, it happens very quickly, especially with black steel. If you ever seen black steel, give it a year.
Yeah.
That's done. Yeah. Or black steel underground, not wrapped because of the water. Fast gas lines. I've seen it done by typically the guys who are doing landscaping. You know, oh, we'll take care of your gas.
Yeah. Yeah, and then for the gas lines underground, do you want us wrapping them, or do you want us getting the green coated, the epoxy coated gas lines?
Even coated really should be wrapped. We used to have to use Fletch coat because we didn't have the PE pipe, and we had to put glue all over that and then 10 mil tape. We had to have a 40 mil wrap on it, is what we were required
We
to
had
have.
to do that a couple times at JDF for new service to a back house, and they're like, oh, just put the epoxy pipe, but we had to dig it back up because Apple Valley wasn't buying that.
Well, what
Well-
about the fusion? I mean, we could do the fusion, and then they have insulated risers. Or
Yeah,
they
the
have
risers, you know, I'm sort of old school. Like I used to wrap those. I don't wrap them anymore.
You don't need to anymore.
But yeah, you don't need to anymore apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, even when they came out with those risers, I was wrapping,
Yeah.
you know, just because,
Oh,
you know.
I've seen those leak though, if you scratch those, scratch the
Yeah.
epoxy off, which
Yeah.
is really easy to do, because people are
Yeah.
throwing crap around in
Yeah.
the truck, throwing the crap around on the
Yeah.
ground, you can
Very
scratch
true.
those up.
Yeah, I do it
Then
at
then
the
you have, then you
top
have a
where
weak
the-
point right there.
Yeah, I do it at the top where it meets like the concrete and then the atmosphere, because water's gonna get there no matter what.
Yep.
So I always wrap it right there, and then the rest,
What
because I
mean-
get the one that's insulated.
What's concrete made out of?
Yeah.
Rock, sand,
Yeah.
I mean, think
Limestone.
about it, and you're putting that around that epoxy, you're getting chips and dings and everything else on that epoxy, you just
Yeah.
made a
You
weak
should
spot.
wrap that.
I would wrap it.
No matter what.
Yeah,
But I know here we do the PE pipe mostly, so, I mean, 90% of that problem is eliminated right there.
well, yeah,
We
but,
still
Talking
wrap
about
it.
the
but
risers.
when
coming
you,
out.
when your riser's coming up, that's
Yeah.
gotta be rigid,
Yeah,
so,
well, like the ones we did at Michelle Zhang, how it's
they're
got that-
sleeved,
The risers, yeah.
yeah.
Which,
Yeah, those are a different animal altogether now,
Mhm.
those don't, the Chicago style is what they call those.
well, they look slick, they
Yeah.
work pretty good.
Yeah.
I like
Those
them.
those were awesome. Saved us a little bit on that, so. Anyway, I just wanted to point this out, so, that's all I got. Any questions?
Nope. All right, guys, appreciate it, thanks. Let's get out there and make some money.